So I've already drawn out the bird onto the canvas panel and given it a coat of raw umber with some acrylic medium to give an imprimatura or a coloured ground to paint onto. Now with a small brush I'm just going to start putting in some of these relevant little details so I don't lose them when I start to paint over the top. And I will be doing some drastic painting over the top. So basically it's going to be a limited palette that I'll be using. So I'm going to be using titanium white, Payne's grey, raw umber, burnt sienna and yellow ochre. And these are all earth colours. So it'll give me a nice range of colours that will harmonise beautifully with each other. So the burnt sienna is the red, the yellow ochre is the yellow, and the Payne's grey is going to be the blue, because if you add a little bit of white to it, it has a blue tint, which creates a beautiful bluey grey. So I'm just putting some white areas in now. These are the lightest areas. So basically just knocking in the basic shapes and the colouring. So still with this small brush, I'm just going to put in some of the greys now, some of these beautiful little greys. Like that, just knocking them in bit by bit, adding variety, making it a little bit darker towards the bottom. Now I'm going to my larger brush, my 1-inch bristle brush. Now just a quick heads up at this point to let you know of my YouTube memberships. At this moment I have just one tier, that is basically a support tier. For just the price of a cup of coffee you'll be able to have a privileged view of my videos before they go public. You will also be able to join me on my live painting sessions when I stream them once a month at the moment. In joining this tier, and also by using the links for tools and materials in the description below, you'll be helping to support me and my channel and will help me to keep bringing you these videos and streams. So I'm just knocking in the basic colours and basic shapes of this background. Now it's going to combine abstract painting with Impressionist painting and realistic painting, realism. So the background and part of the bird is going to be abstract. And then most of the bird is going to be Impressionism, and the head and face of the bird are going to be a bit more realistic. So just putting in some of these basic colours. Giving this a bit of warmth now with a bit of burnt sienna with a little bit of raw umber added just to dull the colour down a little bit. A little spray of water, and then using my silicone tool, the catalyst tool, I can move this paint around and create beautiful abstract shapes. This tool is available in the description below, in the links in the description below. I can pick paint up off the palette and actually paint onto the canvas with it. So I'll just scrape it into the palette and apply it. Rather like a painting knife, but I just like the effect this has. It creates wonderful abstract marks and beautiful blends. Now this is the first, well, it's the second layer. The first layer was the imprimatura of raw umber. So this is the second layer of the colour. While that's wet in the bottom left corner, I'll just sign my name by scratching my name into the wet paint. Now I'm going to dry that completely off and start the third layer, or the second layer of colour. Little spray of water to make sure the paint moves around a little bit easier. Not a lot, just a little damp spray, just to make the canvas a little bit more damp. And then I can start to really refine this background with the colours so that I want that bird to really stand out against that. I want the head to really stand out against it. So there's going to be some areas that are going to be dark, where the light of the bird stands out against that dark background, and vice versa, where it's light as well. So you must pay attention to those areas by always considering light against dark and dark against light. If you really want your paintings to pop and make your subject matter really stand out. So I'm putting some other greys in there using a bit of burnt sienna, raw umber as well. A bit more Payne's grey here and there. And I want that to really blend in with the bird there. Little spray of water, and then using the Catalyst silicon tool again, I can start to move the paint once again. Now this time, because I've gone over a previous layer using similar colours, it moves around so much smoother and is a bit more refined, and I can get this really nice looking abstract sort of quality to it. Now this is a cheap bristle brush that I'm just basically knocking in some basic shapes and then using the tool to move them around like that. Put some darker areas now into the bird itself. It has these dark markings. And people often ask me, can I show the reference I'm going from? Well, a lot of the time, I'm actually making this up. I'm using imagination, and sometimes I will use more than one photo. I'll use several images to go from. And so most of the time it's imagination, but you can certainly get ideas from anywhere. You can get ideas from watching the TV, using some wildlife shows, and get some ideas from those. Okay, I'm putting some variety in there, some little cool greys using the Payne's grey and white there. But I want the bottom half of the bird to be slowly emerging out of this dark area, darkness, into the rest of the bird. So the further I come down the painting, the more impressionist and abstract it's going to be in the bird itself. And then the further I go up towards the head, the more refined and detailed it's going to be. That will then naturally lead your eye straight to the detailed area, which is where I want the eye to concentrate. That is, the face. But you have to remember, when you're painting like this, impressionist and abstract, is to be bold. Always be bold with your brushstrokes. Don't be too tentative or afraid or scared about applying a brushstroke. This is acrylics. If you make a mistake, you just paint over it. It's easy. It's easy to paint over something. Okay, I'm just putting some warmth into that part of the bird there, and an impression of those feathers on the chest. I'm not painting them detailed, I'm just painting an impression of these little curved-like feathers there. And I'll add some of those colours elsewhere as well. That creates the colour harmony throughout the painting. If you keep adding these colours, put them elsewhere as well. You can see how using a limited palette controls the overall quality and harmony of the painting. I can't get really bright, garish colours with it, but because that's not what I want. I want nice, muted earth colours in the painting, because I'm painting nature. Yeah, I know nature can be bright in areas. Some birds, tropical birds, are extremely brightly coloured, but I don't tend to paint those very often. I'll just put some highlights now into that chest there. And using a small brush, I'm going to put in the eyelid, the lower eyelid, and a little highlight there underneath. And also delineate the edge of the beak now, because this is important. The shape of the beak on any bird is really important. That little highlight in the eye as well will just make that eye come alive. And then just with some dark colour, the Payne's grey, I can put those really dark areas back in once again, because they will dull down as they dry. Same with the lights, they will dull as they dry. So I'll have to go over them several times before they stay at the depth or brightness that I want them to be. Bit of Payne's grey there and white into the top of the beak. And then using this old brush that I've got, this is you'll have seen this on many other paintings that I do, where I can splay the bristles of it, and it produces such great little fine little lines like fur and feathers very, very easily. And this is how the old masters, not the old masters, this is how professionals would have painted or would paint fur and feather, is by using a brush and splaying the bristles of it, splaying them out so that they splay out and create like a mini fan brush effect. I've been a professional most of my life, and I know a lot of very good world class and famous artists, professional artists, and this, wildlife artists that is, and this is how they would do those, that particular way of painting fur and feathers with a brush like this. So if you have an old round nylon brush that doesn't come to a point anymore, don't throw it away. This is one of the most useful things you can do with it. And I do tend to use this in more or less every painting. This and the large 1-inch bristle flat brush I tend to use in every painting. But I will also sometimes use an actual fan brush as well, depending on the scale of the painting and what I'm painting. Or even a rake brush, which already has the bristles set so that you can paint fur. You need to look into one of those if you're interested in wildlife and painting wildlife, fur and feathers. Then you need to probably consider a rake brush. If you look them up, you should be able to find them from the links on the websites that I've left in the description below. Once you're on the site, just do a search for rake brush and they'll come up. Okay, just putting a few lights in now with a small fine brush now. This is a fine brush. This isn't the splayed bristle brush. I'm just going to put a few dots of colour in and these little markings that it has here and there. I'll put them on the top of the head and back of the neck. And a few little lighter ones, just where it's picking out a little bit of the light. Or the light's just picking out a little bit of those markings. And on the back of the head and the top of that eye. Again, several times I will go over that in order to keep it bright. A little bit of warmth now into the top of the head using burnt sienna and white. And splay the bristles there. You can see what it does, that effect it has. It makes painting fur and feathers so much easier. Okay, I'll just put some highlights in that area there on the chest and on the back of the bird there, just where it's picking out a little bit of light. Okay. And now I'm going to adjust the background colour here because I wasn't happy with the shape of the bird there. The shape of the neck, that's much better. I'll just put in some highlight areas, few little wisps of feather there. And one or two more on the top of the head. Again, re-establishing those lights. As they sink in, they need to be gone over again as they dried. You can't go over them if they're wet, it won't make any difference, but wait till it's dry and go over them again and they will go brighter. And stay brighter each time. Bit of colour into the bird, a bit of burnt sienna, and then a bit more dark colour for those shapes of the feathers, which are an impressionistic style there. And then I can put the highlight in the lower eyelid once again with this very fine brush. And also into the beak, make sure that beak's looking right. And a little highlight of grey in the top of the eye. I'll just put the darks back into the eye again. And I'm going to put in with a dagger brush just some foliage, bits of grasses and leaves here. Again, a very, very useful brush, a dagger brush. Using a bit of yellow ochre raw umber and white, I can get some nice subtle earthy green colours. It's probably a little bit dark, so I'll add a little bit of light to that. Lighten it up a little bit. I can start putting in these Impressionist strokes of paint for leaves to give the impression that there are leaves and foliage there. Not painting in each individual leaf perfectly. I want the viewer to look at the bird, not the leaves. That's just to give it an overall design of the composition. I'll put some warmth into the background as well here and there with a little bit of burnt sienna and yellow ochre and raw umber. Delineating the eye once again. This will be the last time I do that because they're staying nice and dark now. Like that. And then once I've gone over that area, I'm going to get the fine line brush, the very fine brush, and pure white, and just add some little dots of light once again, one into the eye, and then elsewhere just little dots of light. I love doing it at this stage. But then that is the painting finished. If you have enjoyed this video and hopefully found it interesting and entertaining, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Be sure to click on the little bell icon if you wish to be notified of my latest videos. I am always interested in your questions and comments, and I do try to answer every one of them. Hopefully I will see you on my next painting video, so until then, have a lovely day and happy painting!